Okay, I'll make this one a short video. Basically, this will be, I guess I'll call it an about video, where you'll learn a little bit about what I am and how you can support what I'm trying to do. I guess the first thing I'll start off with, so it's easier to access later on, just in case I don't put the links in right away at the bottom under the video. You can help support my efforts, or rather our efforts, I'll get into that, by going to PayPal, and then you use the_EIU at live.com. That's basically THE_EIU at live.com. And that's how you can send money to my and/or our PayPal account. EIU stands for Every Industry Universal. I guess I'll get into that part now because I know I'll forget later, I think. The Illuminati is set up in various ways. It's really complicated. If you've done your studying, you know it goes all the way up through aliens, past aliens to spirits, past all of that, straight back to God. I'm God. I'm trying not to really get too heavy into it at the moment because I'm going to give you, I'll go ahead and give you the, what do you call it, because I said I'll put it at the beginning. I make music also. As a recording artist and or producer, so on and so forth, an actor, I'm known as Predada Severa. So that's P-R-E-D-E, messing that up, right? It's crazy. P-R-E-D-A-D-A, last name S-E-V-E-R-A. And I have a Facebook, a Twitter, Instagram, a YouTube channel. So I have an album out called An Ounce and a Half that's been out for like ages. It's going on, it's really likely been out almost 20 years now. It's just it took a number of years to get it, finished, and not finished, but to make it commercial, getting all the printing and that stuff done, so that by the time I got it out, it was like 2001, and then I reprinted stuff up and put it out back in 2000. Put it out back, put it back out in 2006. I'm gonna just say this about the album. My take on things is it doesn't matter that something didn't just come out, unless we're talking about like cars or electronics and things like that. I don't believe that music gets old. Now, I guess I should tweak that in saying that because we are constantly developing electronics technology such that the sound you hear when you listen to music may be more updated, or is more updated than maybe music that got released 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even 5 years ago these days. That doesn't necessarily make it better. And y'all gotta forgive me because I just came out of a leap, and it was a really complicated leap. Yeah, like quantum leap. But if you watch some of my other videos, and maybe one day I'll do a specific video for that one, you'll hear more of what I'm talking about with that. Alright, so now you can get my album at cdbaby.com. The link has changed for that, kind of, sort of, but I believe if you still put in, https://www.cdbaby.com. So yeah, www.cdbaby.com/CD/ it used to be artist, and then / Predator Severa, but I think it changed to just www.cdbaby.com /CD / Predator Severa. Either way, you know my name. If you go there, you see the album there. It's like I'm standing in a kitchen blowing a kiss at y'all. Black shorts, no shirt. Looks like I got like something in front of me. I'm making like a sandwich or something. And yeah, album title, 1.5 ounces. So if you could go buy my album, you know, I'd really appreciate it. I'm a really, I use the word complicated entity. So I guess at this point, because that's the only two options I have to get any assistance from the general public. I mean, you know, we have Western Unions and all these things like this. And I mean, if any of you are that trusting, then, you know, we could work out options like that. I mean, I guess it's possible, depending on the situation, where if somebody wanted to meet up with me, because I do black operations, black projects, and so forth. I do overt stuff also, especially with regards to acquisitions and acquiring income. But you know, in cases like that, you do have to have meetings with people, so it's not really a big deal. It's just that since I don't know you, you don't know me, I just have to ask that you not waste my time. Meaning, you know, there's a lot of malevolence out here, which is part of the reason I'm here. And, you know, people are quick to want to maybe, I don't know, say meet up with you and then not show, or meet up with you and have some other agenda in mind. So none of those are good. So now let's, I guess, get a little bit into what I am. I did say I'm going to keep it short, so it's just an about video. So I'll just touch on a couple of things. There's what is supposed to be a creator, a divine creator of all things, whatever created all things, all of our existence itself, these things. This is broken in two parts with regards to us, meaning when you look out at the stars, this earth that you're on, so on and so forth, there's existence. You can pretty much look up the definition of that. It's solid. Then there is what you may or may not call God, or whatever the name is for the creator that you have in your particular culture, religion, or whatever it might be. These are divided because God, or whoever, is, and from now on I'll just say God to keep it short, God is an entity unto itself that exists on a plane of existence. You know, some people in whatever religions or whatever teach that God created existence and everything else, but something had to create God. So existence had to exist in order for God to be created. So that would lead you to believe logically that things existed, and then something created God, and then God created most other things, or at least the things that we know of, which is more accurate. We'll use the term more accurate. Now, to liken it to anything, which, because you know, if you know me a little bit or whatever, you know I like to use metaphors. You are you, whoever you are. Inside your body, there's things going on. Everything inside your skin, everything that's covered by your skin is you. Now, life exists within you. down to subatomic particles. And now, what we as humans know of is nothing any smaller than like ions, pions, things of that nature, mesons. But these things onto themselves are worlds. I use the term worlds. You have nuclei of atoms. Then you have these various subatomic particles. The nucleus of an atom, you can liken it to our sun here. The electrons that revolve around an atom, or rather around a nuclei, or nucleus, you can liken to the different planets we have here, one of which we live on. So if you want to go even smaller than that, you could say that if you could use, like, I guess, something more powerful than an electron microscope, then you could actually see that on each one of these electrons there's life, like we have here on Earth. So as you can see, all of this is the same if you go micro, meaning within ourselves, and if you go macro, meaning without ourselves. You look around the universe, you see these stars, they're just other electrons floating around other nuclei. So if you remember a little bit of, if you're not, still in school, if you're like older school and everything, if you still remember a decent amount from high school, college, or whatever, then you know that atoms compose all things, along with subatomic particles where atoms aren't present. And if that's the case, then that means we live inside of something else. And living inside of something else leads you down two paths, kind of, sort of, maybe three. Do we live inside of something living? Do we live inside of something that's, what is the word? Something that doesn't move around, like a rock or whatever. I forgot the particular term at the moment, but you know what I mean. Or do we live inside of something that maybe doesn't have a body, a spirit, a spiritual entity? Because when you're dealing with electrons, that doesn't mean that what we could live inside of has a physical body. It just means it exists and it's something organized. So now you can see how complex what you might want to call God could be, or is. We could reside actually, because electrons can compose molecules such as H2O, so on and so forth. We could live inside of a drop of water. This whole universe could be just a drop of water. And if you really think about it, being that the Earth is approximately 75% covered with water, and everyone's always arguing about what space really is because certain organizations won't let you just go up into space on your own accord, then you can argue that, hey, perhaps outer space really is, water. We have water floating around in the atmosphere. The sky is blue. At night it's a dark blue. So would it be completely illogical to make some form of assumption that outer space is actually like inside your body? You have blood plasma. Your blood plasma is a liquid. You could call it water. You could say that your body's full of water and that plasma and blood are just thicker forms of water, which include other elements and our particles. So it would lead you to believe that we're surrounded by water, actually, when everyone's telling you that outer space is just a vacuum, which might not be completely wrong. Cold, which might not be completely wrong. But that there's like nothing there, which might be completely wrong. Now, just dealing with the God part, jumping back to that. I like to often talk about things such as the Central Intelligence Agency, but I don't like to keep the topic on anything having to do with Langley, because all of this stuff is far more complicated than any organization we have here in the United States. Remember, other countries existed before the US did, and before there were countries, there were let's say, masses of peoples. Now, at the moment, I'm not going to go into, race and all of this stuff like this, because if you really done your studying, there's no such thing as race. The color of someone's skin does not matter, never has, never will. It's a response to UV radiation. Either you have a response to it that protects your body, which is melanin or melatonin, whatever you want to say, which darkens your skin for whatever reason, which allows you to convert the sunlight into D3 to process calcium in your body, or you have a response because you lack melanin or melatonin that causes you to get sunburned. And if the radiation is right, it doesn't matter how dark of a person you are, you can still get sunburned. So all of this stuff we have about race on this world, listen, okay, I'm not going to be mean. It doesn't matter. All of you who hate black people, you wear black clothing. So that doesn't make any sense. And if there are any of you who are black who hate white people, you wear white clothing. When you're wearing this clothing, as far as, let's say, any type of animal other than a human that's running around, if you're black and you're wearing all white, they think you're white. If you're white and you're wearing all black, they think you're black. And those entities have been around a lot longer in the universe than we have. So they're not stupid, they're really intelligent. And they're likely sitting there saying, look at the humans. They argue, fuss, fight, kill each other because they put on each other's colors. And then they look at each other like, yo, I'm not like you. We're not similar. Now, keep that in mind for a second. Now, let's go further. Let's go to some of you who are thinking at this moment, well, I'll wear some clothing on the outside. That doesn't mean I'm the same as the other person on the inside. You know what? You're absolutely right. And because I want to keep this short, I'm always dying to jump into the subject, because this is what's wrong with the world in essence, and the madness needs to stop. And I know y'all not going to stop it. It's just what it is. The earth keeps getting wiped out by catastrophes of biblical or whatever proportions because of what y'all do. At other videos I've touched on that. Maybe one day I'll have a solid video on it. I just walk on eggshells because I'm on YouTube, or when I do this on Facebook and all this stuff like that, are used to. Because all of these social medias, no matter who it is, even YouTube too, you can't say exactly what you want to say, because then they say, oh, we want to protect the community, and you're saying or doing something that's negatively affecting the community, so we don't want you here. But the thing is, what are we supposed to all be fake? Really, seriously? The world is fake and is getting destroyed. So I'm thinking like this. I'm not a trillionaire, but I truly believe if I had the money to do the things that are going on inside my head and that are going on inside my organizations, or our organizations rather, that I'd easily be the richest entity in the omniverse in not too long. Well, except for the fact that most people walk around this world and the things that they consider important in life, just trying to be nice again, aren't important at all, and are actually malevolent to such degrees. It's just ridiculous. So for instance, when I conversate with people, one of the things I always bring up is, if you guys supported me the way you support, now I'm not going to be so nice, but this is still being nice, if the silliness that you support all around the world, if you stopped doing that, the malevolence that you support, if you stopped doing that, the things that don't matter, if you stopped doing that and supported me in the things that I'm doing, because everything I do, every day, all the time, my thoughts, just who I am, what I am, which is God, is so serious that I can't even describe it to you. Because if you paid any attention to anything I've said so far, what I've basically told you is that there's a God, we all live inside a God, and if you look at it, everything that goes on here every day is a disrespect to God. So it's like, you're sick sometimes. You're sick because there's things in your body disrespecting your body, and you don't want them there. What do? You go get medicine to destroy it. So, everybody, we can sit here and talk about how many incarnations of mankind or whoever or whatever there have been, things like us, that think like us, that do like us, and how many times it's been wiped out, and what and why. Scientists can argue that all they want. People who've gone to college or whatever can argue that all they want. Let's just do a short about college and scientists. College basically means that someone sat around all their life and did a lot of thinking about stuff. Then they wrote it down. I really would like to be able to curse when I do videos, because I like cursing, but not to be mean. Just sometimes you can't describe things correctly. So I think you can imagine that I almost said a curse word when I said stuff. So just know that I'm replacing curse words with the word stuff. But I hate it because it doesn't accurately describe anything, emotion, none of that. So at any rate, you go to college and you learn stuff that this guy just thought about, or if they did any kind of experimentation, learned about. So it's to say, right? Let's just cut to the chase with this part. Some entity lands here in this world. They look at you. They don't know what you are. They grab you. They chop you up. Look at the insides of you and all of that stuff like that. Then they write a book. Then the other little kids on their world want to go pay to read their book and hear someone else speak about that book to teach them about you getting chopped up and what they learned when they chopped you up. Now, we can make that you. We can make that plants and animals. Other plants and animals, rather. We can make that the ground when they dig up the ground. We can make that anything when they crack an atom, which is the foundation of life, which you shouldn't do. It doesn't make any sense, never has. So now we have atomic weapons, and we destroy ourselves with them and destroy other worlds and destroy everything with it, whether we use it as energy or not. Because when you crack an atom, you're basically destroying a world and its nuclei and the other worlds surrounding that nuclei. That's what you're doing. So when you drive a car, and yeah, I drive. However, on this world, there's certain things you absolutely have to do in order to get certain jobs done. Don't like that I have to do it. I love solar energy. But, that's another story, so let's not throw stones back and forth. But just see what I'm saying. When you drive a car, you're cracking atoms. You're burning atoms. So every I don't know how many atoms there are in a drop of gasoline. To have created gasoline from oil destroyed life. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, with how malevolent the human race is. And no one teaches this to the younger ones. So, your thing when you're young is, I can't wait till I can drive. You don't even know what driving is, what it does, what it means. You guys think, and how am I going to keep things short when nothing can be kept short? I'm not saying I'm better than you. Listen what I'm saying, because I didn't say this part yet. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm just saying I know a lot. It's just knowledge. It's just information. I know a lot. And it's information that nobody gives you. Some information you're not privy to. You shouldn't be. I'm not privy to a lot of information, being God. Look at that. That's complicated. But here's what I'm saying. You guys think, okay, there's this thing called the Illuminati. And, this is organization. And you got to sell your soul. You got to kill people, your family, this stuff and that. You got to, do horrible things to children and all this stuff like this. You got to sell your soul, if I didn't say that already. What was the thing? So you gotta switch your sexuality. You gotta do all these things to join this organization. It's all lies, right? Now, let's deal with the part of selling your soul. Selling your soul. I'm not saying that that's something that's a lie. I'm saying that it does not apply to our organization or any organization related to us. We don't do things like that. That's done by certain entities on this world and off-world and in other dimensions with regards to humans or not, but not done by us. The reason I want to touch on it is to say like this. Basically, selling your soul is making a pact. Just like, you go to the store and you buy something. It's an exchange of goods and services. Your soul, whatever, we'll say for the moment, whatever that might be, however valuable that might be, is something you decide to give to someone or something else in exchange for a service or a good. Now, as we all know, your soul is the essence of you. So what you're basically saying is, I'm going to sell myself into slavery of whatever type it might be, which may or may not include my body, to someone or something else in exchange for some service or good that they say they're going to provide to me. Now, we can go into the complication of nothing exists if you've done your homework. I don't exist, you don't exist, nothing you're hearing right now exists, nothing around you exists. The universe doesn't exist, omniverse doesn't exist. Truly it doesn't. Because atoms or 99.9 or whatever percent empty space. Or maybe that's water in between them. Yeah, okay? So now, with all of that said, you're giving up something that may be so valuable, it's incredible, and maybe the only thing that's actually real in the entire universe, the entire omniverse. You, look at this. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not calling me better than you, this, that, and the third. I'm trying to teach you about you. Because when I teach you about how I'm God, we all live inside of God. You live inside of God. You compose God. So you're just as important as I am. And if we all compose something called God, then that means God lives somewhere. And if God lives somewhere, who is God? Now, I just want to say this for a second, because I'm a very emotional person. Don't take that for weakness at all. Just as deeply emotional as I am, is as deeply, we'll use the word because we're on YouTube, the opposite that I am. So never try to play me like I'm some weak person, because you'll find out in whatever manner either I or my organization wishes to present to you, that I always get justice when wrong is done to me. So now, okay, let me pull back for a second. If God, right, is some guy walking around like me or you in its world trying to do things and no one's listening to it, like no one listens to me here, then you can only see how important it is that you do not disrespect the innards of God, but that you contribute to the growth of God in whatever ways, intellectually, spiritually, physically, so that it can do its job. We all have a job, you know, so it can do its job of trying to save its world wherever it's at. So my job, I come here to, you know, it's like I'm saying, not the whole important thing or better than things, just I have a job. My job is that the central intelligence, getting back to that, I'm trying to keep it short. It's not going to happen, I guess, again. All my videos are going to probably turn out to be like half an hour long. The central intelligence, which is what, like I said, all of this stuff predates humans. The central intelligence of God, not its cerebral cortex or medulla oblongata or all this stuff like this. Those are physical things. Not its pineal gland. That's a physical thing. But the electronics behind it, the spirituality and electronics are one in one, which is why we're having such a problem in this world. Because when you deal with, say, 4 gig, 5 gig, Wi-Fi, all of these things, all of those are spiritual energies being utilized by humanity for something else. So if you want to say for every minute you're on your cell phone, it just utilized 20,000 ghosts or 20,000 spirits to carry its information, you can say that. So now, where was I? Because I'm trying to shorten this. Really, I am. You're God, just like I'm God. The Illuminati is the light energy of God. Like, meaning, what is that? Lumens, trying to bring it down to like ions and stuff. That thing, the thing that flies around. It's not electron. For some reason I can't remember right now. Photon, there you go. The Illuminati is the photons, which are God, be it with a body or not. Now, these photons showing themselves in the universe, we'll take it like, we'll go like this. These photons showing themselves in the universe is a dangerous thing. It's kind of like when you're on Earth and you have all these weapons that Earth has, and you're looking into space and you see something maybe like a comet or whatever it might be flying through outer space coming towards the Earth, and all the scientists are in an uproar. Oh my God, I would think this thing is, we call it TR56891224, whatever the hell, and it's going to crash into Earth if we don't do something about this. What they don't realize is sometimes it's light energy. It has, I'm not going to say it has no mass, but it might not do the damage that they think it's going to do, because they can't tell whether it's solid or liquid or gas yet. You know what I mean? So now, we have these weapons now. We aim out into space and we just shoot it at things and destroy them. Having no clue what they are. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes the upper, echelon of whoever, they know what it is, and they just want to get rid of it because of whatever purpose it has. So now we can kind of tie this into purpose. If you're Illuminati, which is a photon, huh? Well, those are Illuminati too. Anyway, different. Photon flying through space, and you're coming at a planet. The planet's looking to wipe you out. So now, why would you be flying through space, possibly targeting or aimed at a planet? Now we can get into that part a little bit, and this is going to be difficult. You'll find out why, as you get to know me, why I'm always going off on the different tangents, because everything in the omniverse is connected, and there's illions and illions of things, and if you jump on one topic, it leads to 30,000 other ones. If you're not the type of person who does that, I mean, kudos for you that you can stay on one topic so well, but it's, trying to understand life and trying to get through relations and all this stuff like this, I don't think it's possible staying on one topic with anyone about anything. But at any rate, so let's go now to cell structures, or something smaller than that. Let's deal with okay, we'll deal with at the moment white blood cells. Your white blood cells that you will allegedly have, or that they allegedly call them, or that they allegedly may or may not look like. Again, with this black, white, and all of this stuff like this, all these things can be misleading. So, for the moment, since I don't want to borrow, from someone's collegiate or scientific activity, which always has agendas, we'll just say the entities that exist within you that protect your body from outside interference or things that look to do harm to you. If you would like to continue to think about them as white blood cells, go ahead. The reason I say don't do that, trying to pull the whole race and everything out of everything, is also because there's things smaller than white blood cells, which is what I'm trying to get to right here. I just want to get you on that path. You have these entities within you. It just keeps getting smaller and smaller because it all exists within you. They don't even know you exist. Just like when you look in a microscope, you don't know there's things smaller than a white blood cell that do the same job, or even a better job. These things travel through your body and they look for trouble. They just run around, and it's not always just like that. It's kind of like the police, right? The police get called by someone who's in trouble. It goes to a central intelligence, which is the police station. The dispatcher and or whoever is working with the dispatcher, who's above them or whatever, they say, okay, we need to do this about that. Send this officer or these officers over there. So now in this scenario, the officers are the white blood cells. They go to the location, not this time of their own accord, to resolve the issue, however that might need to be done, knowing that it might get hectic. So the same thing goes on inside your body, on a much smaller scale than white blood cells. Even here on Earth, we have the police. They're basically like white blood cells. They go to solve problems, or sometimes they see problems on their own, and they just go handle it. Same thing. Everything is modeled after God, after the human body, on a micro scale, after God on a macro scale. But understand there's things way bigger than God that are just so unfathomable, is that correct word? That is ridiculous. So now, let's just stick with this for a moment, and so I can get out of this, what was supposed to be a short about video. These things, entities, being sent of their own accord, or, you know what I mean, were sent not of their own accord, understand different areas of their we'll say precinct. I think that's the correct terminology when you're not talking about the actual base, but you're talking about the area to work in. It's called a precinct. So they know their neighborhood, and they say, that's not right over there. What's going on over there isn't right. So now look at Earth. Look at all that, I'll use the term for the moment, we, loosely, we have done to it and are doing. And like a virus, we're branching out into what you call space to go other places and do the same thing, with the intent of going to other places and doing the same thing. That's the horrible part. With the intent of going to other places and doing the same thing. Knowing, and I mean at the highest echelons of society, they all know the stuff they're doing here on Earth is just completely horrible. Whether the highest echelon of society is richer than God or poorer than me. Knowing they're going to do the same malevolence somewhere else. Yet, and I'll just touch on this briefly, everybody wants to go to church every Sunday and think everything is cool when they come out and they prayed and they worshiped what they thought was God and all that, and it's not. I'm God, I'm here to tell you it's not. The only thing cool, whether you step foot in a church or not, whether you hold some type of book of theology in your hands or not, is when you always look to do the right thing no matter what situation you're in. That's the only thing that's cool. If you want to believe in a heaven and a hell, or whatever, or where you're going to go, where you're not going to go afterwards, I can tell you this. There's a suffrage. That's a place you go, or you end up in, when justice is done, and it's a punishment for what you've done. Not hell. Hell is what you're living right now. This is hell. If you study, let's just say the Bible, then you know that this right here is hell. Now, you can make it a heaven if you do the right thing, if everybody helps each other and loves each other and does the right thing by this world, other dimensions, space, all this stuff like this. The animals, whatever. It can be a haven because this all comes from Old English, Old Norse, so on and so forth, all the way back to Khoisan. So when you get a chance, you might want to study that, the Khoisan tribe, and how they were obliterated and done so dirty far before any other religious group in any war, and they still get done dirty and get zero recognition for their contributions to all of this. Zero recognition. Khoisan, Khoisan. Trying to keep this short. I try not to be emotional either. I don't want you guys to take it the wrong way, like I'm like this angry dude. I think we're all angry inside, but that's not what's going on here. When I get into something, speaking about things, I get passionate, you'll learn it. Anyway, so where was I at? Where was I? So, okay, yeah, white blood cells. So now, when you're looking into outer space, I know I probably left you hanging on the other thing, but just try to keep up with me. That's just me, right? I'm trying. When you look into outer space and you see this thing flying at Earth, just know that it's possible that it's something that was sent here or coming here of its own accord, or may even still be guided here by aliens. We'll get into that more in another video, but I'll just touch on it. Okay, I'll just touch on it before I forget. Aliens at times guide what you might want to call a subatomic, say that a bunch of more times, thing similar to a white blood cell, to places which are worlds or asteroids or comets or whatever that are malignant, malevolent, whatever, to completely destroy them. To just like when you're sick, you take medicine to completely destroy whatever's in your body, and then there's the waste management of your body, kind of like, when you're in these organizations and they have people called the cleaners, sanitizers, that come through and clean up the mess. So then your body cleans the mess out, and you know how that happens. We're not going to go into that. So the same thing goes on in your body, goes on without your body out here. Goes on outside of God too. Goes on everywhere. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So now, just stop and think for a second. Everyone is so, and this is going to sound really crazy, but if you stop and think for a minute, it's really not. And what's sad is it will make you understand the mentality of certain people or groups on this earth who do things of this nature. I think the thing I can say on YouTube without it getting all crazy is what do you call it? In a war, when the Japanese were doing that suicide plane crashing thing into the, what do you call it, the ships, and you're like, I mean, you know, growing up, I don't really like to get into the whole racial thing too tough. No, actually, I do, but no one can handle it. But we'll just go like this. You know, let's assume you can handle it, so that you're not taking what I'm trying to say wrong, like disrespectfully or anything. When you're growing up, you know, I'm gonna say as a black man growing up, fighting back the tears, man. I'll just use those. That helps me fight back the tears. I try not to break down, and I do enough of that in my life. You know, you watch movies and stuff, so you have such respect for other people's cultures. We have respect. I'm gonna use the term "we" generally right now because I think I can kind of sort of. We have so much respect for other people's cultures, and they have zero respect for ours, and it's even negative. They have negative respect for ours. That's so messed up. I use that word instead of curse words too. Messed up, yeah. That's so messed up because, you know, you might watch movies like let's say if you watch, I love Korean movies. I love the language. I like the culture. I like the respect they give to each other when they move about. You know, you walk into a room with someone and you kind of like bow out of respect. You know, could we as Americans ever do something like that? Don't think so. That doesn't happen. You might do it if the Pope comes to town. You don't even do it for your, you know, we'll say right now, for, you know, the preachers in church. You don't do it for your parents. You don't do it for anyone who you're supposed to just, you're always taught to give so much respect to. But they do that. You know, when I started getting into Korean culture a little bit, don't have time to dive into everybody's, I found that one of the most interesting things. So I said I was going to keep this short, right? So it's that respect thing. That's just like, you know, Koreans. So now, if I were Korean, and I'm looking out at the world, or if I'm looking at my own race, then I might have my own issues with my own race, or the way we conduct ourselves in the world. But I'm not Korean. I'm on the outside looking in. So that's what I'm saying. You know, when we're black, or, you know, generally speaking, we look at other people's cultures, we watch movies, TV, things. There's people we like, yo, I would like to be like that. How do you think like half of, I'm not going to say half of because that sounds crazy. You know, when you watch Italian movies and you see mafias and things of this nature, now putting aside the violence and putting aside, you know, these drug movies and gun movies and all that stuff like that, the culture is so beautiful. And you've seen where a lot of black people want to emulate that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a fantastic thing. We're all here in this world to learn from each other and become something better because of things we pick up from each other. Kind of like you went to college to pick up knowledge that someone else attained, as long as they weren't chopping somebody up or a plant, you know what I mean? You pick up knowledge that someone else attained to add to your collection, your library of knowledge to make yourself a better person. So only imagine if instead of, you know, warring and doing the things we do, hating each other and all this stuff like this, we all dived into each other's cultures and came back from that with something positive to make part of ourselves or to contribute into society because of something we learned from someone else's cultures. That's what it's supposed to be, but that's not what happens. Because, and let's keep this part short, I think all my videos will be an hour when I talk about keeping them short. Never believe me. When it comes to me saying I'm going to make a short video, it's probably a lie. It's not my fault. I try, I really try. But this world is run by aliens, and it's run by things higher than aliens, that aliens answer to. And then those things are run by things that they answer to. And this goes up past God. Because like I said, God isn't the end of everything. Before anything existed, before there was an existence, there was existence. But you know, let's just hope. Notice in another video, I like to always say, can you wrap your mind around that one? You should try to wrap. I don't mean it like you guys are like, you know, dumb or this, or I don't mean that at all. I just want to, you know, I like to drive it home. Like, I'm trying to make this like, when I'm talking to my homeboys, this is, you know, this is what this channel is about. You see CI stands for Central Intelligence. I'm the Central Intelligence of God. It sent me here. Stop laughing. So it sent me here. it sent me here to just, keep you guys updated on what the body thinks, Your body, you think you know what's going on inside your body. You don't. All you know is the pain you feel, the joy you feel, whatever. But all of this stuff that's going on in this world is going on throughout your body all the time. And, we medicate ourselves with, various drugs and, ignoring the pain and doing other activities to avoid it. But all of us are hurting inside in one way or another, for one reason or another. And, you duck it instead of dealing with it. So now, just look at it this way. I'm your body that you live inside of, coming to have a talk with you about what's going on. So we can go into the whole Christ did it, Muhammad did it, the various orators, Greek, Roman culture, African, all Australian, whatever, we'll just say, I guess, European and South American and American and so on and so forth. All of these various prophets or poets, even on to today, poets, people who make movies, people who make music. That's communique coming from I, God. I didn't finish the Illuminati thing. I'm sorry. I, God. I'll stop there for a second. So what happens is with illumination, if you pay attention, it's illumination. The word light is represented in Lumin. Il means not. Just like in illogical. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. But things still are logical, but it's not logical. You see what I'm saying? It kind of means covert. So now, if you're this object flying through space and you actually want to make it to the planet, to get rid of the planet because it's a problem, or if you're a subatomic particle going to a site of infection to get rid of the infection, you don't want it to see you approaching. So you guise yourself. So that's why we're called the Illuminati, because we're all that is good, but we have to guise ourselves to move through different planes of existence because of the malevolence around us that doesn't want us to exist. You see, the problem is the malevolence within you, the malevolence around you, without you, the malevolence in the universe in general does not care about existence. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about life. It doesn't care about death. The only thing it cares about is nothing. So at this moment, I'll stop and say, without trying to sound, mean or anything, try to wrap your brains around that one. You can only think about it in terms of, imagine someone you know who's completely horrible, a completely horrible person, and if you ask them why they act like that, they say, just because. I can. Like, why do I need a reason? That's what malevolence is. They're full of malevolence, and everything that's influenced them, I'm going to guess, is malevolence, and they don't care. And you can't argue with malevolence. You can't deal with it. Let's rephrase that. You can't bargain with it. You can't try to understand it. You could try, but you can't understand it because it's too many things all rolled up in one. It's just nonsensical. That's not a good thing. In order for things to be constructed, they must make sense. They must fit together. They must be logical. They must be organized. They should be benevolent. Because if you have a bunch of malevolence trying to pile up together, it's not going to make a building, right? It's going to be a big glob. Remember that movie, The Blob? And it was supposed to be this stuff from outer space that came, and it's alien in nature, and it's just wants to grab everyone and everything around it and make it a part of itself and just roll along until everything's just one giant blob of, for no reason whatsoever, really, there was no logic to that, one just giant blob of ill. Yeah. So does that that doesn't make any sense. You guys, we live our lives, and you try to attain things. I always like to put it this way. We try to be here, and if you're not trying to contribute anything good to society, then the least you're trying to do is just live your life and just trying to see some things around you and do some things. But why would you go about doing that all these years? All of the safeguards you take to make sure that every day next, you wake up. I don't get to sleep. I'm God. I don't sleep. I quantum leap. That's about it. Other times I'm just in safe mode. Basically, I've never said it like that, but yeah, that's what I mean. I'm always in just safe mode. But you go to sleep and you just look to wake up the next day and do some more of nothing or whatever it is you do. That's, when you don't have any construct to your life except, getting some money so you can eat, and if you got a place, you pay your bills and just do whatever you did the day before, because that's what makes you happy. Why do you bother to do all of that just 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years later to end up, destroyed? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. It should have a purpose. You should say, hey, okay, I'm 20. I still want to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now when I'm 70. But, I know to get there, things have to be such that my life doesn't get affected and keeps me from getting there. So even if you're someone who has no plans in life, you plan on the world being in a manner that doesn't negatively affect you. So why would you put negativity out into the world when we all know if you put negativity out, it's going to eventually come back around somewhere or close to you or to you, a year later, 100 years later? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. So why bother? It takes, I think, I'm going to say, a whole lot less energy to, if anything, do something positive than to do something negative. And, whoever you might be, because none of us are human. That's just a word mankind made up. You look around the world and you're not like the person next to you. I don't care if it's your mother, father, sister, brother. You're nothing like them. All of our cells in our body, the illions and illions of them, get changed out on a daily or weekly basis with the universe. Not with the earth, with the entire universe. You're an alien. You're a walking alien who becomes a different alien at least once a week. Because this is a body. Just like in your body, you eat, all that stuff goes down to such a subatomic level, it can't be measured by science these days, to exchange out. It brings in something good, pulls out something bad, puts the thing bad eventually out of the body. In this body, to us, that could be 1 trillion years for the bad stuff to get out. In your body, you eat and bad stuff comes out like the next day. Something like that. We'll just say it like that. Its time is different in the body. So on and so forth. And in God's different too. Now, let's try to keep this under 55 minutes. Yeah. At any rate, so you got this Illuminati, this, entity approaching a planet, and it's trying to get rid of the planet, or, depending on how powerful it is, the entire solar system, or perhaps the entire universe, because of the malevolence. So let's see, how can you avert that? I don't know. Let me think for a second. If you stop doing the stuff you're doing that's bad, then we don't got to worry about that, right? You would think that it's possible, even though I said time is different in the body. So like, if you know how to, let's bring it back to the police for a second. This is a cool thing. I never really thought about this like this. If you got a problem at your house, I don't know, this is a common one. Let's try this one, right? Say you're in a domestic issue with your spouse, children, whatever, at your house, and it's gotten so bad that someone called the police. So now, I know I'm going to be wrong in this because they're going to respond anyway, but maybe someone in your house, we'll say someone in your household, your wife, she calls the cops on you. She's like, listen, he's tripping, please come over. So now, they're on their way there. Now, at some point, she calls the police station back and says, listen, everything's cool. Now, from what I know, depending on where you live, what country, whatever, the police are going to still respond. However, even if they do, their response, I would guess, is typically better going there, at least not knowing that someone called from the house, the same person who called and said there was a problem, and says there's no longer a problem. Now, police response is, you got to know this for a fact, now they're even more on their toes because they're like, why all of a sudden it is like a big argument, then she calls and she says no problem. It sounds to me like there's a worse problem going on right now and she really, really, really needs help. She's just trying to squash us getting there. But then you'll have an aspect of yourself as a police officer who'll say, it's possible that everything's cool. And they just don't want to waste our time. So, you go there with both of these things sort of in play and you're looking for signs to say one or the other. But I think that's a lot better than going to a call as a cop, knowing that it could have gotten a lot worse since you guys got called on the phone. And if there's violence going on, nobody's picking up a phone to say, hey, he's beating me up, or he's shooting at me, or he's stabbing me. So the cops can't get that part of the call. They have to go there assuming the worst. And if things are better, hey, fine. So they come there very stressed out, and on edge, and ready to do whatever they need to do to squash whatever they might encounter. So look at that as that thing approaching the earth. It's on its way. It's like, yo, I know everything's really, really horrible down there, and I'm about to squash all of that because I can. Yeah, because I can. That type of thing. See what I mean? So it's on its way, but then, if possible, it gets a call from the Central Intelligence, God, the thing that sent it, or whatever's guiding it. If that's how it works, we'll just say like that, because I couldn't tell you either way. I'm just saying. You're gonna find with me a lot of things are classified, and I'll be on a subject matter and just stop it dead short or whatever, because some of these videos I do on my own accord because I'm God, but just know that I'm here as an avatar. I don't think I said that earlier. I'm an avatar of God. So when I come here, I come through a veil just like you do, or came through a veil, have come through a veil many times anyway, over millions of years. So now, coming through the veil is necessary to actually turn into a human. How am I going to keep that short? If you want to make a cake, there's certain ingredients, and you got to let the dough rise and do this and bake it at this temperature, else it's going to flop. If I came into a human body, or the different types of bodies I've been in since the beginning of time and before the beginning of time, if you want to say it that way. Well, not if you want to say it that way, that's what it is, but there are things that exist that are bodies, but not a body. I'm not going to go into that right now. Just remind me at some point, because I'm not going to write it down like I tried to do in that first video. Just remind me at some point later on. Things you guys want me to discuss that you want to hear what my perspective is, whether you're going to believe it or not, just so that I can add more content to the channel, if nothing else. Feel free, please, in the comments, don't put negative stuff. If you don't like the stuff I'm saying or whatever, just go to somebody else's channel. It's cool. It's just like watching TV. You don't like what you're watching, turn the channel. You don't try to leave a negative comment on or maybe these days you can, I don't know. Leave a negative comment on the television, say like, yo, I don't like your show. You suck. Bye. No, just go somewhere else and just act. I don't want to say act like you never heard of me, like I didn't exist or nothing like that. If nothing, just all the stuff you heard, take it with you. You might not agree or believe it now, but at some point in your life, trust me, you will. Yeah. Anyway, so where was I at? Aliens guiding this thing here get a call, and they say, listen, everything's cool. Don't wipe out that world, because they've all started loving each other and helping each other and being kind to each other and protecting the environment, not destroying it. They've taken another look at themselves, their souls, and they're becoming more spiritual, all these different things. And it has to be legit. That's why I'm here. I'm a thermostat, a thermometer for the Illuminati, which is the central intelligence of God, or its aware part. Light energy is knowledge, it's awareness. Black energy, light, black, dark energy. Dark energy is a sponge, meaning it still exists, it looks to absorb and then possibly become a photon and then put out light. Or at times dark energy is actually, if you really want to say it like I was trying to explain, illumination. It's covert light. Anything that exists is light. I mean, to put that loosely, it has activity. It puts out energy. That energy becomes something. It's neither created nor destroyed, but transformed from one form to another, often represented by something visual, sometimes not. So in the visual spectrum, everything looks, puts out energy and puts out energy. Not everything in the visual spectrum. So I'm not gonna go into that right now either. Just remind me later, please. Yeah, under 55 minutes, not happening, right? These things take too long to upload. Anyway, okay, let me close this off. Where was I at? So now, to get the call, it's got to be real. You guys can't fake loving each other. You can't fake having a change of heart, the way you feel about things, all these things like this. You can portray it on the outside to each other all you want. But God, ain't you heard this like a lot in your life? God, or whatever you might call it, knows your heart, knows your soul, knows your spirit, knows your mind, knows your thoughts, knows everything about you, all that stuff like that. And that's why, all the things I've explained if you've never known why. So, I mean, really, seriously, you could disagree with everything I'm saying right now. You can be upset because there's, this black guy over here saying he's God, for those of you who are racist, even though I just explained to you that race has nothing to do with anything. And actually, in this case, it does. See, here's what the thing is, right? Just touching on race for a second. If you are white, you're surrounded by black people in this world and people of other colors other than white. White isn't actually a color, neither is black. There's no such thing as colors. But you know what I mean. Now, with that part said, you have a response, just like anything else. If you are white and you look at black people kind of like what you might think werewolves are, and you're scared of werewolves or you don't like werewolves, if you're surrounded by werewolves, if they're everywhere in the world, your thing is you either got to go out each day and deal with werewolves, or you got to get rid of the werewolves. And that's just being real. That's nothing that needs to be censored, though I will put slightly explicit content on a thing. But anyway, so that's your take on things. So now, if the truth of the matter, which it is in a lot of cases, and we'll even throw in Sasquatch and other stuff that just looks plain weird. If the truth of the matter is that werewolves are good, that vampires are good, which a lot of vampires are good, aliens are good, Sasquatch is good. Some of you know that crocodiles and alligators, alligators and things like that are good. Not all octopus look to eat you, or octopi look to eat you. If you know that a lot of these things, or all of these things that you've been taught, or just from watching movies, or just from your own thoughts, being on drugs or not, has said to you are bad or actually good, then it goes from being a task to go outside each day, to turn on the TV each day, to go to work each day, whatever. It goes from being a task where you have this malevolence in mind, or it should, to being a task of, okay, I was surrounded by all of these people, but in your frame of mind you might think things, or whatever you might think, that I thought were bad, but they're actually, fantastic. Just like me, but just a different version of me. However that is. We're not going to go into that right now. So now, in your dealings at first with these people, you're going to say to yourself, okay, well, I still don't like them, but I'm going to try to find a way to like them. That starts on the outside, the way, you present yourself. But just like what happened during the 60s, and yeah, I could dive into this a little bit, and I'm not going to right now because we're over an hour, but anybody who's still around from the, 50s and 60s, or, when there was the war, Vietnam, and everybody was smoking weed, and then all of a sudden everybody of different races wanted to love each other, that type of thing. I'm not advocating any type of drug use. I'm not advocating smoking weed. That's just not something I do. We can get in that another time. You can ask me to touch on it if you would like me to, if I don't remember, and I'll tell you my perception of things, or whatever. So now, what I'm saying is, when you're in a different frame of mind, all be, on the same frame of mind, the same level for whatever reason, you realize that skin color doesn't matter, culture doesn't matter, all these things don't matter in something you should play into hating someone or disliking someone. It all of a sudden becomes, you're different than me, why? Okay, that's the reason? Oh, I never thought about that. You know what? That's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. Let me apply that to my life, just to make my life more interesting or better, or whatever the case is. We're supposed to draw from each other. Now, when it's at that point, right there, when you start saying, hey, you know what? I'm surrounded by these werewolves or whatever, and I started hanging out with them. I'm not gonna say the next thing I was gonna say because I don't advocate that stuff. But I started hanging out with them, and we all chilling. I'm trying to imagine this while I'm saying it to you. We're all chilling, and I found out the werewolves are kind of cool. So, over time, some of them become your best friends. Yeah. So now, that's sincere. That's something that the object that's approaching Earth, which there are many of, by the way, I'm not even joking with that, approaching Earth, either guided or not, by alien intelligence, or alien intelligence, or central intelligence, or whatever, guided by those things, that's when they get the call, like, listen, everything is cool down there. Just do a flyby. Right? Now, the flyby may or may not happen, just like with the police. When the police come to your house, likely they're just going to keep coming to your house. They're not just going to turn the car around, because they're not trying to be responsible if something goes wrong. Yeah. So now, only imagine if there's, I'm going to make a movie about this. So I want you to know that I was the first one to say I'm going to make a movie about this. That there's this giant comet or whatever it might be approaching, and it's just looking like, yo, this thing could wipe out like everything, right? I don't even think we could get rid of this one. Everybody just pray. Whatever you believe in, just pray, because this is about to be over. This thing is approaching, and then all of a sudden, when it's almost here, you're all looking up at the atmosphere. You're all looking up at the atmosphere, and this thing is almost here, and it either just does a flyby and ends up, I don't know, it breaks itself up into thousands of pieces, millions, and just lands in the ocean and just a bunch of plops and splashes. Or lands somewhere where there's like no people at, and no animals, no ants either, and just hits the ground and just, breaks up in little tiny pieces of sand or something. And everybody's just like, oh, it's God. And then somebody stands up and they're like, oh, we were all just like praying, to God. And, everyone's prayers collectively probably went something like this. God, I know I've been a horrible person most of my life, if not all my life. I haven't gone to church like I should, or haven't really respected you or your world or whatever this is and stuff like this. But I promise, if you don't let this thing destroy us, then I'm going to be a different person tomorrow. Please, my wife, my kids, I love them. Don't let nothing happen to them. I think all of that collectively, you might think made the thing go like, woof, break into a million pieces or whatever. And actually it did. I mean, if that's possible. I'm just saying, if that's possible. What I am really saying is that, listen, y'all need to stop the madness. Even if you knew that there were comets, asteroids, meteors, or whatever approaching this world, and like scientists already know, which you saw me on the scientist collegiate bash thing, because these people know, once you get to a certain level of society and you study all this stuff, I can say it, there's certain things I can't talk about, but it's my job to make, you're the general population. If you listen to me on YouTube, you're really the general population. You as a general population don't know nothing. I don't know anything, but you know less than what I know. You know nothing. Nobody wants to tell you. You want to learn on your own, or you don't even care, and you're supposed to care. You have to care. Even though you don't think you do, trust me, you have to care. So I'm supposed to tell you these things. That's just my job in the Illuminati. So you never know. I didn't say it in the beginning. I've said it on Facebook and stuff like this. I'm the only entity from the Illuminati, from the Anunnaki Illuminati, from the Serban Illuminati, Serba, S-U-R-B-A-H, from the Sinu Illuminati, S-I-N-U, from the Illuminati, the Black Illuminati, from the Secret Illuminati. There's many, just dealing with the Illuminati. Then there's many other organizations. There's illions and illions and illions and illions of them. Look at the stars, bro. Look at the stars. There's so many different, there's more. If you could imagine, there's all these plants and animals on this world, illions and illions and trillions and quadrillions, whatever the hell. On other worlds, same thing, just you can't see it. All other plants have life on them. You just can't see it, what it is, what it's represented as. And all of them, I don't care if you're a plant there's an Illuminati organization for plants. I don't care if you're a squirrel. I don't care if you're an ant. I don't care if you're the air floating by that you're about to breathe in or breathe out. It's all illumination. It's all atoms. They're all active. They all exist. It's all illumination. When you deal with the term with regards to an organization, like I say, I'm Illuminati, but you're not in terms of an organization. It's meaning there's a number of us that interact frequently and have a specific purpose, which you've come to know as the Illuminati, but people try to subvert or always are subverting, saying it's these families that run the world and all that. That's not the truth. The entities that run the world are parts of organizations, whatever they may be they malevolent or benevolent. Malevolence prevails always, just like the bully in school, until the benevolent organizations do something that subvert the bully, which you know how it is. If someone's always coming asking you for your lunch money, you got to do something drastic to make them stop. The principal won't make them stop. Your parents won't make them stop. They have to stop on their own, but something has to happen that makes them stop on their own. So that's why it would seem, if you throw in there's an Illuminati, oh, these people who know all this stuff and do all this witchcraft and all that, but then there's all this malevolence going on. If these people are supposed to be super people in a manner of speaking, and then the world is a bad world in general, it's easy to tie those two together, but that's not what's going on. The Illuminati is the good people who some are wealthy just because they've been around a very long time, like witches and vampires. It takes thousands of years to accumulate this wealth. There's bad ones, but there's good ones. And then you have malevolence. You can be a malevolent entity, come along and become rich and take over the world a lot quicker than someone who's benevolent, who gets that same money, who came along. It's just how it goes. So it's not the Illuminati destroying the world. The people who run the world, this family stuff and all this stuff like this and bloodlines, that's not true. In a way, it's not true. We can go into that another time. You can ask me questions. Someone won't be able to answer, or a lot I won't be able to answer, but I'll be able to answer them in a manner such that you walk away knowing more than you did, but something helpful that you need to know as a human being so you can help make the world a better place, which is what they don't want you to do. Not the Illuminati, but the bad ones. The stuff I don't tell you because of illumination protects you, me, the world, existence, all of that stuff. Because it was kind of like I didn't really finish up the cake thing, and I'll try to do that and make it under an hour and 15 minutes. Jesus Christ, really. If you don't make the cake right, it flops. If you try to become a human being, it happens to you too. Some of you are reincarnations. Some of you are here for your first time or exist for your first time. Some of you this might be your 1,000th or millionth time back in existence, in this plane of existence. And if you don't come into this existence correctly with the right elements composing you, then you're like that cake in that oven, you flop. So now, if you take a cake and you throw all this extra stuff in there, just anything that's in the cabinet, anything that's in a refrigerator, it's likely not going to become a cake. You know that. You could be a health nut, and you've seen it. Like what? You call those things? Fruit cakes. Yeah. All this stuff is in it. People put all kinds of stuff in fruit cake, and it's usually really moist inside, not developed, not cooked right. And if you eat too much of it, you get sick because of that. Same thing. You can't. I couldn't come into this existence knowing everything that I knew. That had to be kind of left behind. I had to come into this existence, if you want to say like a virgin. It's funny, right? Like a virgin spirit or something almost. And then, of course, you need that information later. Now, I like metaphors. You represent it as, if you're going somewhere, if you're an intelligence agent, you walk with maybe a USB thing or something on you that I'm not going to describe, but just says that it holds information and no one else can find it. And you use it in a piece of equipment later on when you get somewhere safe. So look at the piece of equipment that you're arriving to as your body. Look at your travel with this information as your spirit. Look at where you came before that when you had it on that supercomputer in that government facility or whatever as you being God. And if you don't understand, or if you didn't, the least you a lot of you watch movies, you play these video games. So now it should put it more in terms. Because please, I hope during the course of all of this, you left out race when you're listening to me. You didn't think of me like I'm listening to this black guy who says he's poor He's, probably whatever, and he's crazy, and he's saying all this stuff about this God and all. I hope you really left all of that to the side and just listen to what I said. Because unless you're really, really racist, you don't do that when you're in school listening to the professor. I know some of you probably do. You're in college and you have a black professor, or if you're whatever other race and you don't like other people's races, you're listening, you look at the professor, and like, he don't know what he's talking about. Look, he's this or he's that. You're not listening to the information, but I would believe that you would listen to them more than you listen to me today or over the last hour, whatever. So now, no, but you needed to have been just listening to me. Just like when you read a book. If you don't know who the author is, you're just looking at the information. You're discerning. You're trying to pit it against what you think or what you know or what you want to believe, but it's there in front of you in black and white. Isn't that funny? In black and white. It's there in front of you in black and white, and it's either true or it's not true. There's no, it's skin color. Like for me, I didn't say at the beginning of the video, I do all these videos lately in black because what I found was, like, my teeth, they're messed up. And that's not because I was on drugs or this or that. It has nothing to do with anything like that. We'll just say it like this. I had dental work done. I'm going to say the manner in which it was done, and or what's those? I got crowns done. So whatever you want to call it, the materials used. The crowns broke. So just only imagine if somebody gets a bunch of crowns and then over time they break for whatever reason. So when they do your crowns, they cut your teeth off like fangs. But when you get root canals, I had root canals. When you get root canals done, the teeth are dead. They're not alive, so they don't want to stay together, meaning they don't want to stay like a tooth. So you've cut this tooth. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to just say this. Maybe, I don't care if you're a doctor, whatever, you're not going to agree, or, because you want to make money or whatever, or you might disagree medically. I'm not a physician. I should say that. I'm not a physician in terms of humanity. That's complicated. If I'm God, I know everything, right? But I don't know everything. I get that information back later if it's necessary while I'm here as an avatar. But what I'm saying is, so I'm not here to give, okay, we won't say I'm not here to give health advice. I'll say I'm not a physician. So, consult your physician on what I'm saying, who may or may not agree, and then you could just go from there. If you need teeth pulled, just get them pulled. Do not worry about how society, and this is funny because my videos are black, right? Do not worry about how society is going to look at you until you can figure out an alternate thing to put teeth back there in your mouth. Now, my belief, and what I know for a fact, is that depending on who you are, what you ingest, and a number of other factors, genetics and environment, all this other stuff, your teeth may or may not grow back. So you do not have to get crowns or artificial teeth, all this stuff like this. You do not have to. And I'm going to say you do not have to. I don't think that's medical advice. So I can't see a doctor or anybody having a problem with me saying that. You do not have to get crowns and stuff. What is really a good idea, I believe, personally, and have experienced because of what I'm going through, is that if you have an issue with your tooth, just get it pulled. It's central intelligence, its ability to defend itself from anything that's, you got to study this on your own. Your blood cells, your blood veins and arteries on a micro scale, they bring blood cells in, white blood cells come in, but it's like, it's kind of like a giant cave. If you sending troops into a cave to fight someone, they're backed against a wall. And their thing is, they got to keep you from getting inside the cave to get rid of them. And that's what germs and bacteria do. They go inside your tooth. They destroy the nerves. They destroy the blood cells. They don't need any of that stuff. They look to replicate and then spread outside your tooth. They don't need to travel through your veins and blood. They'll figure out how to do that when they get outside your tooth. They just want to destroy everything and get out of there. So your blood cells, your white blood cells and all that stuff like that can't get in there to get that nastiness out of your tooth. So once you have a problem with your teeth because of genetics or diet or disease or environment or GMO foods, then the tooth is done. Just consider it done. It's entirely possible that if you were heavily medicated, I guess, that an infection can clean out some kind of way, but really seriously, and I think your doctor would tell you this, I doubt it. It's better just get it pulled. Get rid of that tooth. Let another one grow back if one's going to go back. If one's not going to grow back, at the worst case scenario, which I'm not a physician, I'm not going to recommend. I'm just going to say, if you need to have some pearly whites and a nice smile, go get some, what do you call it? Not the implants, but the ones you could take out that just look really good. But you got to spend money on those. So yeah, dentist or whoever, I still helped you make money. Yeah. And you got a healthy patient who'll be around for a lot longer than if you had told them to get a root canal. Because this stuff will kill you. This, root canals and the teeth that are left there, they're dead, and they get reinfected, or they put stuff in your tooth. I'm trying to keep this short. It's impossible, right? They put stuff in your tooth to keep the germs from coming back in there. But the problem is, they can't completely clean it out correctly. Even though they try to sanitize your tooth, they dig through. If you never had a root canal, I'm just giving you a basic. So this is turned into a partial root canal video. Basics. They pull the nerve out, and there's a whole bunch of nastiness in there. Whatever was left of the nerve and all that nasty stuff. And then they try to clean through it with some kind of stuff. And then they inject some kind of stuff up in there in your tooth that's supposed to turn kind of solid and replace where the nerve was, so that germs and bacteria can't get back in there to finish destroying your tooth and turning it brown and black and all that stuff like that. But the stuff is still in there on a microscopic scale that they couldn't have dealt with. Any little crevices and all of that. And over time, it eats its way in the other direction. It can't go forward. It goes backward more into your tooth. And that's when people's teeth turn. They've had root canals or whatever. Their teeth went bad. They got, and now the teeth turns brown and black. This whole time, your tooth is rotting in your skull. It's still, remember, posted in your jaws. And it's right there by your brain, where nerve cells and blood vessels are active. So it's still pulling infection and on a daily basis bringing it to your brain. And it's demanding more from you in terms of, say, like vitamin C and other things to fight off this infection, eating correctly and all that. And most people don't. That's just the reality. It doesn't matter whether you smoke, drink, or whatever, or do drugs or not. Just saying in general with vitamins, which they keep pulling out. And I'm not going to turn this into a GMO food video right now, but you can ask me about that later. Remind me in case I forget to talk about it at another time. They're taking all the vitamins out of the food. If you look at food when you buy it, and by the way, I'm not going to go into that. If you look at the food you buy, you'll see every year that passes by, it has less and less of a particular vitamin in it or mineral. And that's impossible. When they raise crops, for that crop to stay alive and exist, it's pulling stuff from the soil. It's got to. Just like you have to have vitamins and minerals to exist, so does the plant you're about to eat or animal you're about to eat. And when you see that, you look at a package and it's like 5% thiamine, 12% riboflavin, 20% vitamin C. When you see all these low numbers like this, when they're not all saying 100, because it should all be 100. Trust me on that. We're not going to go into whether I can speak as a scientist or not. Yeah, you know what? Really, I can. In terms of stuff like this. I really can. Because I know. And I know. Getting a doctorate or something from some school, from some particular species or whatever of creature that says I'm supposed to be able to talk about this or not, I'm going to be nice. You don't get to tell me what I can talk about, what I cannot, what I should feel, what I should not, who I am, who I'm not, what's real, what's not. That's just a general blanket statement. I'm just being nice because we're on YouTube. If you could have a conversation with me as a regular person, and we could take out of play all of your animosity and what you might feel or think or get your feelings hurt, and we could just sit down like we're brother, and some of y'all can't even talk to your brothers without getting in an argument. But I don't know what to say. If you could sit down and talk to yourself, talk to yourself. Yourself sitting there next to you. So you shouldn't get in a fight with yourself. That would be stupid. If you could do that, then I would say how I really feel. And I'm only being nice because we're on YouTube. That's it. And I'm not saying being nice. I'm just saying or not saying things because I need this information to get to you. I don't need them taking my stuff down because Here's the cold hard facts of it. If I don't get to save the world, if you guys, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of this, and everybody else has screwed me over, trust me on that. Except so far for YouTube. But YouTube has its own regulations and stuff that are impeding me and my organizations, etc., from doing our job correctly. And certain entities know it, remembering that YouTube is a name someone gave to a particular website. But the company is composed of many people who come and go over the years. And they all have their views and perspective on things and their own agendas. That's the most important part. What you feel or think doesn't matter as much as what your agenda is. So if YouTube started out as a place where people can just share ideas and thoughts, whatever might be on their mind, and as long as you put explicit or this, that, and the third or whatever, then everything should be okay. It's not that now. That's just a fact. Facebook, Twitter, all of the same thing. So people got in there who were not Illuminati. I'm going to say that. People got in there who were not Illuminati. Because trust me on this, I'll say these words stern and hard. In fact, I don't care where I'm at for the moment. Yeah, I do care. I'll say this stern and hard and cold. If you want to talk about Illuminati as being these families that run the world and all that stuff like that, then no. There's none of those people in... No, I'm not going to say that. If you want to say, it's these families and this, that, and the third, and they do all this craziness and all that stuff like that, then no, there's nobody on the boards of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or any of that stuff like that who are in the Illuminati, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it. If you want to look at Illuminati like I've described it, as good entities, maybe I think I put that in there, benevolent. Yeah, light is benevolent, right? Supposed to be. Go to the light. Some movies say the light is not your friend. It's not your friend at the moment. Anyway, so light, benevolence, Illuminati, that's all tied together. If you want to say that there's people or entities on the board or who control Facebook, YouTube, and all this stuff who or Illuminati as I described it, yeah, there used to be, or yeah, there are, depending on what we're talking about right now. So I was able to so far put up like 7 videos. So YouTube, okay, yeah. There's channels that I was in the midst of creating, and there's certain rules that stop me from creating channels because I'm the overt representative for the Illuminati, the only one you'll ever meet, if I didn't finish saying that before. Anyone else talking about they're in the Illuminati, all this, they don't know what they're talking about in terms of the organization that controls the world benevolently. I'm the only one you'll ever meet, talk to, whatever. The others will always stay hidden. That's their job, and that's what they have to do to protect themselves, and they have to do that to protect me and protect you and protect existence. In the event that it fell, which, yeah, this is a big failure so far. Look at what's going on. None of you ever listen to me. For all the years I've been on like YouTube and Facebook and all this stuff, nobody pays me any mind. But it's kind of like when allegedly Christ was here, and he said, hey guys, stop doing all this craziness because my Father is going to wipe things out and do all of this stuff because, he's got to protect existence and all that. And back then, I'm going to say it because it is what it is. ISA is ISA, Illuminati Security Agency. That's who Christ was. He was ISA, not ESAU, not any other thing, even though it might be spelled like that or described like that. But when Christ came here, because I was Christ, I was everyone else. That's complicated. We won't get into that right now, but just flow with me for a second. And when I came here, I tried to tell everybody that my Father, who is myself, sent me here to save the world, to get you guys to stop doing the malevolence you're doing. It has to be sincere, else what's going to happen to the world is going to happen without any input from me, without me being able to stop it, because I'm just a thermometer. Everybody decided not to listen to him, and they hurt him up bad and did whatever else, only to sit here for the last 1,000, 2,000 years worshiping him fakely, that's a word, I just made it up if you don't like it, it's a word, fakely, oh so fakely, every Sunday, in every religion, in every manner, and the same thing with every other prophet who's ever been here. You guys just totally, I'm not saying every single tiny one of you, but you know what I mean, in our own ways, including I, because I'm a human, it's just what it is, disrespect him and every other prophet that's ever come along, and everyone that's here now who's saying they're a prophet and you're ignoring them. Some of them may or may not be. I'm just saying they're not Illuminati. That's all I'm saying. Or if they are, I would never tell you they are, and they would never tell you they are. So, disrespecting them. But let's just say, people are teaching benevolence, and you're just ignoring it. And there's way more coming after you're not on this earth anymore. Your spirit, it's around forever until someone or something, I don't want to say it like that, but until something, we'll say something, makes you as matter not exist anymore. Now, in truth, somewhat in science, matter is neither created nor destroyed, but changed from one form to another. But matter had to come into existence, and matter has to leave existence. But even when it does that, it's going to become or be something else, and before it became existence, it was something else. So you're going to be here a real long time. Not necessarily as, a human on the earth, but in existence. And why should you, really seriously, as malevolent as you might be, why should you do that to yourself? It doesn't make any sense. Because you might go through this life and do all of this stuff you do, be part of all of this stuff you're a part of, and feel all this brotherhood. Yeah, they think like me, they do like me, we just tear stuff up and until the grave, and but then you die, and then it's a whole nother story. They're not there. And even if they manage to cross over to where you're at, they may not be able to help you. And then everything you've done is going to come back, not just to haunt you. Haunt you is something that doesn't necessarily touch you or affect you physically, or whatever you want to call it. But it's going to be something that just messes you up in this afterlife, or the afterlives that come, or whatever it is, so horribly. And for so long, forever, or whatever. Why should you do that to yourself? That's the part that doesn't make any sense. If nothing else, if you don't care about no one, nothing else, why do that to yourself? It's like so much easier to just be cool. If you don't like people, like things, whatever, you don't got to smile on nobody's face. You don't got to walk around. You don't got to be benevolent. Just stay to yourself. You don't got to hurt people, hurt people's feelings, all this other stuff. And for no other reason, why do it to yourself to make it come back to mess you up later in some other life or something like that? That's all I'm saying. That's not all I'm saying, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so, hour and a half, yeah, right? Wow, Jesus. Okay, about video. I'm gonna think this is one of the longest about videos anyone's ever made. I'm probably wrong. They probably got like 7, 10 hour, 15 hour videos. No, they do. About videos on specific people, but that's different. Anyway, this was supposed to be a synopsis. This was supposed to be a synopsis. Okay, so, alright, I guess I never really got to the ultimate synopsis point. I'm here to save the world, and if you guys don't help me save the world won't get saved. You've probably heard that from other people, but from me it's true. Take that for what it's worth to you, or whatever. I don't know how to even say anything anymore. And just to think I have to make more videos. At some point in time I have to do public speeches and all this stuff, and I don't feel like it. I really don't. No one should have to explain or tell you to be nice and protect the world and respect it. I've had this job for millions of years. Back when there were single-celled organisms, I was a single-celled organism representing the central intelligence of God, talking to other single-celled organisms, explaining to them why they shouldn't behave like they do. Those ones that enter your body and get you sick, they never listen. See what I mean? There's a whole bunch of diseases and bacteria stuff that just tear stuff up. They didn't listen. Anyway, and you see what happens to them. You take some medicine and they just like, oh my God, God, please save us. Anyway, let's go into something else. We could talk about that if you want. Remind me at another time, and I will talk about that. We can make that real fun. Anyway, so, those are the two that I gave you in the beginning. Basic ways. I mean, like I said, if you want to work together, if there's another way you want to help me, where we would have to, I'm not real cool with meeting up because of who I am and the security level. Everywhere I go, there's certain things I can't say on YouTube, so I'll just say it like this. Everywhere I go, everywhere I am, I have a security level. There's a level of security that comes with me or precedes me, stays behind when I leave for at least a period of time, that is higher than any entity on this world or that you can imagine, because of who and what I am and because of the job that I have. Now, it does not at all matter whether you believe that or not. What does matter is that I explained that to you. So, and I did it as politically correct as I could to say that if we should need to meet up, that okay, I should add into that, they don't handle my security and theirs the way you would think it would go down. So that needed to be said also. I don't know if you can read between the lines of that. There's a whole lot of lines to read between, and you might not be able to pick up on what I just said, but anyway, so it's just to say that, you know, if it's a situation where we need to meet up for some reason in order for you to help me or for us to figure out something we can do collectively to make the world a better place or get me out of the bad situations I'm in or whatever the case is, then these are things you need to know. So now, like I was saying, I'm here to save the world. That's my job. I'm a thermometer for the world, and I basically measure what's going on in the world. My presence here, the way people treat me. That's what I was trying to get to. I know I jump off of 30,000 tangents all the time. That's why I brought up the whole thing about like black people, werewolves, and all that stuff like that. So to kind of close that off and close this off at the same time, I think. So if you know, you're like, say you're racist and there's all these black people and you come to find out they're not what you thought they were, and they're like way better than anything you thought they were, and just like you, and you know, now it's love, peace, and happiness sincerely inside, then trying to figure out how to tie these together. Okay, let me jump back to the other thing. Maybe you just tie it together yourself. I can't remember at the moment. I'm here to save the world. Unless everybody helps me save the world, this place is over and done with by entities, things far greater, if you want to imagine that, than myself. There's a lot of things at play here that you don't realize. Everything on this planet has an agenda. You, all the way up to the hierarchy that runs this world, whether it has a physical body or not, has an agenda. And the Illuminati has a good agenda, Anunnaki Illuminati, a good agenda, so on and so forth. These other certain secret societies or organizations or whatever you want to call them, they don't have your interests, my interests, or even their best interests in mind. And what's sadder is they're composed of beings, be they human or not, who the organizational hierarchies do not care about at all. We, Illuminati, we're one. So you could say one is I as God, or you could say one as an entire body. So you have billions and billions of cells in your body. So if you're having a good day, if you're very healthy, so on and so forth, feeling good, all that stuff like that, your body is kind of sort of acting on one accord, even though there's entities within your body that are looking to destroy you. But at least your security of your body should be kind of sort of on one accord. That's the Illuminati. So, you know, on the bad days, when everything else is taken over and all that stuff like that, that's not. And these worlds are having a really bad day. And I have to save it. And you guys have to help me. Help me. So I can get my stuff together, myself together, get in power, seriously, take over the omniverses with your help, so that I and we together can save all of existence. That goes beyond me sitting here saying I'm in a bad situation, always have been because of who I am, and needing money, it goes way past that. It goes way past the spiritual plane. It goes to the very, past the core, I'll say, of existence itself. Existence is being destroyed by entities on this world, and they do not care that they're destroying it. And the ones who don't understand the level to which they're destroying it, they believe sincerely, having either sold their souls or done other horrible things you can only imagine. Every horror movie you've ever seen wrapped up together is nothing compared to the things that entities who control this world malevolently, or these omniverses malevolently, or other dimensions, other planes of existence who control them, have done. Horror movies rolled up together don't even add up to a piece of that, a measurable piece. It's negated. They don't realize that whatever contracts they've made, pacts they've made, they're not going to get honored. At the very least, not the way they thought they would. So they're doing all of this stuff kind of sort of for nothing. And it's kind of like what I said at the beginning. Doing malevolent stuff for nothing. Whether you thought it was going to be for nothing, or whether you thought it was going to be for something. Anyway, so as you can tell, I'm getting tired. I don't like talking to people and stuff about stuff. I really don't. I know that I might seem hypocritical a lot when you listen to my videos. It's not that. You know, everything is so complicated. It's kind of like a pinball machine. You pull it, the balls start bouncing out. They may or may not bump back into each other, nonsensically. But there was an agenda, to get those balls to go up there and make the high number. But if you actually look at it without knowing that, it looks all crazy. So that's kind of like what you see or what you experience with me without knowing me. But my agenda is to save the omniverses, because if I do that, I'm saving myself, because I'm God, it's my body. And if I haven't said it, I didn't say it in this video, I've said it in other ones. Right now, if you want to call it physical form in my world, is laying in a hospital on a table in a coma. And it's septic. And I'm here to desepticize myself. So only imagine that one. And just so it's said, I have the movie rights on that. So don't go trying to make a movie like that. And yeah. At any rate, so you guys have I'm trying to learn my video etiquette too and all that stuff like that. You gotta bear with me, because like I said, I'm not into one-on-one conversations with people and stuff like this. I can do that till I can't, till I'm hoarse or whatever, need to drink some water or whatever. Anyway, but I don't like just getting on videos and stuff and talking. I just feel like this is a waste of time, which it really is, for the most part, or it really is completely. But it's the whole thing of the monetizing and spreading the word, and you need money to live and all this. If the world was minus that, the whole money thing, everything would be, not everything, but it would be a lot more beautiful. So with that said, okay, I'm not going to take this to an hour 45 minutes. I'm slowing down in my speech, because I'm just trying to think real quick if there's anything I forgot, so I don't got to go back into stuff too much to be sort of like an about video and make a part 2. Like I said, if you guys, if in listening to this you have questions, feel free to ask me stuff. Please don't leave negative comments. Just go about your business. I am asking though, that even if you just totally didn't agree with anything I've had to say, or like it or whatever, then just remember the things I've said to somehow apply positively in life, in your life and in others, or to just hold on to till a point in your life where you feel differently about things, and you can kind of say to yourself, okay, I remember this guy saying this. You know what, that makes sense, because that's what happens to all of us. I mean, being truthful, I'm a human here. I'm an alien, but I'm a human here. And over the years, you start thinking differently about things, because you get different informations. You experience different things. But I always try to keep everything, with this agenda of benevolence, no matter, I've learned the world is unhelpable. If that's not a word, it is now unhelpable. I told you my body is septic. Septic basically means there's no hope. And you could try to fight it all you want to, but there's likely no hope. But miracles can happen. So if you are someone, I don't care if you're malevolent or benevolent, whatever, if you've been looking for a miracle, because maybe you're malevolent, I did go over 145. Darn it. Okay. If you're malevolent and you're just looking for a miracle, like if you don't like being malevolent, you want to be a good person, you really, honestly, truly would like to be able to, but you find no reason in life, your life, whatever, to be good, I'm the miracle. I'm trying, bro. Work with me. I'm trying. Throw everything, race, all that stuff, the way I sound, the way I look, that you don't see, but you go to my other things and see me. I didn't want my appearance of my teeth to be what you focus on when I'm doing the videos, because I want you to hear me. And plus, if you're at work or something, listening to this or driving, you need to be paying attention to the road, paying attention to your job, way more than trying to look at what I look like and what I'm doing. So even though this is, like an audio, and it has this negative parts because you can't see me and all that stuff like that, just look at that positive side of it. So just, take that with you, like, hey, there's this guy, I am, but okay, you might say he kind of seems sincere about wanting to make this world a better place. You might not care about making it a better place, but you would like it to keep existing so you can keep doing, hopefully not focused on doing malevolent stuff, but just keep doing things till you're different in your life, so you can do things that are either neutral or at best benevolent or whatever, better than that. There's better than benevolence. So just take it with that. Just don't leave no negative comments. That's just not cool. You know what I mean? I don't need that. I'll say it like this. I'm a really strong person, but I'm a really fragile person. I'm a really tough person, but I'm a really, what's the other word? Tough meaning, no, okay. I get justice, but I'm an emotional person. So, people tend to take emotion as, oh, he doesn't, defend himself, or he doesn't, seek to right wrongs that people does to him, however you want to look at that. That's not the case at all. I mean, I'm not someone who does not get justice in one way, shape, or form or another. So, just keep everything cool, man. Tranquilo. Y, aire. And so on. So yeah, like I was saying, trying to work on my etiquette. So you guys have a good day. Thank you for taking the time to listen to all of this. Regardless of whatever, I really appreciate at least you listen to all this. Not if your intent is to take something and do something malevolent with it. It's one of my favorite words. But if you just wanted to hear me out, I really appreciate it. Trust me. And it was necessary for you to, because we got to save the world. I need you to help me to get me to the position so I can save the world. I can do it. Trust me, I can do that. Everybody else, politicians and stuff, say they're going to do it. They have no intent to do it. Trust me. Not one of them. Nobody here has the intent. Not even you. Trust me on that. You know for a fact. You do not walk outside your house. You do not wake up each morning focused on, I'm going to save the world. And I know exactly how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get it done, and I can do it. I'm going to say it like this. No, you can't. No, you don't really want to. It's something to keep you going. This isn't something to keep me going. This is my job. It's been my job since the beginning of time. I'm darn sick of it because I shouldn't have to. But it has to get done because I'm working for myself on a bigger scale. Yeah. And so on and so forth. So I need you to, I don't want to have to say I need you to believe me. I need you to believe in me. I don't want to have to say all that stuff like that. I know I said it right, but that has to be, because I'm here to save myself. I just shorten it. I'm here to save myself, and I have to save myself. And I need all of my body to work together to help me. So I'm not just here in this world doing this. I'm on other worlds, representing other forms. I'm on the tiniest meteor rock that's in the atmosphere right now. I'm on the biggest planet you've never heard of, in some way, shape, or form, saying this exact thing to others, which are you, because we're all connected, as I'm saying it to you, even if they don't have video yet, or even if they have things that are more advanced than that. but this body is septic. If you've ever been really sick, really sick, but you still wanted to be here, and you're not a praying person or whatever, and you prayed, that's where we're at right now. And I'm the answer. I'm the cure. Please help me. So with that said, please help me to get myself together, to help all of us, to help you, to help me, to help the world, universe, all that. I know I'm just babbling on right now, right? My bad. I'm just trying to find a better way to put it in as many words as I do know. Sometimes I can't find exact words or sequence of words to say it correct. But you already know, so I'll just try not to forget anything to say, but I'll just close it off like that, because almost 2 hours. This is ridiculous. Anyway, you guys have a good day later and all that stuff like that. And you know how to reach me, you know how to help me. Well, you don't know how to reach me, but you know how to get in contact with me. You know how to help me. So on and so forth. Take care.